Hi Richard, how you going?
Good, Rog. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Welcome to my studio. I see you are in your studio, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
at
yeah.
least there's
My it's
one
my
guitar and
safe space.
yeah, one guitar and a hell of a lot of bottles, I can see. Anyway, this video, it's actually the first one we record, so we're gonna see how we go. But for the viewers, the idea is that I will make a short video interviews with Richard. Richard is the guy that write all the lyrics for the Elkaroo songs, and I thought it might be interesting to hear a little bit of the backstory to each song. So each video will just cover one song. And so the song today is Deep in the Silent Sea. So what in hell triggered this quite sad story about a stranded man out in space?
Well, I guess everyone loves sad songs, so I certainly do. Um, and a lot of my stuff is about, is melancholic. I think there's great beauty in melancholic songs. I love that sort of the sad, wistful tones, and this one, Deep in the Silent Sea, was well, it was created. I wanted to get a sort of an empathetic view of someone that's going through some sort of stress or trauma or tragedy. And in this song, it's a protagonist, Indigo Bob, and he's a guy that is made of the right stuff, and he's had a bit of a battle through his own personal life, and he's finally, hit his straps and got the mission into space, and then of course something goes wrong, and you're hearing his thoughts. He's so lucky to be there. He can't believe he's finally made it, and then of course something goes wrong, and he starts to reflect a bit on his own life, and his wife and his family and that kind of thing. So I was definitely looking for to elicit an emotional response from the listener.
Yeah, I sort of find it really a sad song too. But sort of what's a bit now people don't know you. I mean, this is the first video, but you're not a very melancholic, sad person. So now, when you sort of say you like the sort of melancholic stuff, is it that uh, w- is it when you're in a melancholic mode that you get inspired to write, or is it more like you get inspired to write and you immediately then go into sort of the melancholic field to try to get the inspiration? Is it like the chicken or
Yeah.
the egg or
Well, I guess it's a bit of both. It can be two things. So this one, the main theme was loneliness, but I'm not a lonely person.
yeah,
I come from a very happy childhood with fantastic family and beautiful extended family, and happily married for forever, and beautiful kids, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So, but I've always been attracted to sad songs. Like my first great love of music was triggered by Pink Floyd. I can still remember going to the library and getting a cassette,
yeah,
but borrowing a cassette of Wish You Were Here from the library
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and playing it into my cassette recorder, and just being floored
yeah,
by Wish You Were Here. And that's
yeah,
a sort of a melancholic piece. The whole
yeah,
thing's
yeah. So my
So I mean, we all, even though I said, I, I'm not lonely at all. I guess there's times in our lives where we all experience some kind of loneliness.
mm,
That so it was if I'm listening to sort of melancholic music, that'll put me in a melancholic mood. And however, I can also like anything, I can also just go there and sort of get stuck into it and wrap my head around it
mm,
and off I go. So it doesn't have to be something. I find the spontaneous stuff that comes to me is in those, from listening to sad songs or beautiful melancholic, wistful kind of music. It can be any music. It can be Pink Floyd or it can be classical.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't
Is
have
that
to.
often what trigger you start writing on a new song, that you actually listen to something and suddenly something get born out of that? Or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
A lot of the time that's true. So I can. Um, I sort of collect words. If I hear a beautiful word, or an unusual word or something, I'll write it down.
Mm,
I'll put it in my phone. I've got a sort of a battery of words in there that I collect over time, and then I also put ideas in there. Talking with yourself and other people, involved in Elkaroo.
mm,
Um, we'll come up with an idea or a next song or whatever it's going to be,
mm,
and I'll have these things percolating in the back of my head,
yeah.
um, just while I'm doing whatever,
Mm,
and then
mm,
at random points they'll happen. It'll all come to the fore, and I'll be able to just quite quickly I can punch out a song, out the words for it, and then those words I'll send to yourself, for example, Rog,
mm,
and often with um, the type of music that I was listening to, and the fit, to give you an idea of the sort of genre of how I came to those words, what was going on in my head at the time.
yeah, yeah. So let let's just sort of take this song. How much time did you spend roughly on that? Did you sort of work over days and refine it, or did it just get born quickly, so to
Yeah,
speak?
I find it doesn't take long to write a song.
Yeah.
When I say long, be uh, an hour or something like that, maybe, or
Oh.
I might come up with a few words initially, and then I can build the song around those.
Mm.
It's not a long process to actually create, 3, 4, 5, 6 verses or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But then I'll often sit with it, and then I can spend a long time tweaking it. I can,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can spend weeks and weeks and weeks on and off, going back, finding better words,
Mm,
shuffling the order of the verses around.
mm, mm.
I can spend a long time, but at some point you actually have to release it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
like I can just keep going and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. But
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
some point I've got to let it out of the bag and let you guys have a look,
yeah.
and then
Yeah, and
um,
I know sometimes I find it hard to sing certain phrases. It doesn't, once I have a melody in mind and a rhythm, some of the words might not flow easily. And then I ask
sure,
you, can we replace those words or that phrase? And then you come up with something else that,
yeah, yeah,
merge in better with the melody. Because, of course, when
yeah,
you
yeah,
write it, you don't have a melody. You just have these sort of, phrasing and, rhythm of the words, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I might have a cadence in my head as I'm writing,
Mm.
um, but I won't have a melody for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, 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 yeah. Right. Well, that's cool. I guess that's probably, enough for a video about the Silent Sea. One last thing, you mentioned the guy's name, which is not part of the lyrics. In Indigo Bob,
Yeah,
he he's the guy that gets stranded out there, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
so will we ever find out what happened to him? Because it's not really clear in the song. Is he gonna make it back to his family or not? It sort of it
Wow,
ends
wow.
a little
Who
open-ended there.
knows?
Yeah, who knows?
No, no. Well, that's there's a Indigo Bob, the protagonist from Deep in the Silent Sea, will probably pop up in at other times in other songs. I love the idea of a concept album, um, and that has a underlining theme or themes running through it.
Hmm.
And initially, yeah, like indigo actually is an Aboriginal word for moon. It's a female Aboriginal word for moon, and initially during a the radio play, um, I was looking at one of the bases, on the moon or in space or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
It was called Indigo, and just the way the radio play morphed and the way it was read and recorded, it actually became Indigo Bob.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and it,
okay.
it, it sort of morphed from a a location into a person, I guess.
Yeah,
So
okay, yeah,
just
yeah. So, so the radio play, you mean that radio conversation in the song?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
hear it.
oh,
It starts off, we sort of that Houston thing. We have a chamber breach. Blah blah blah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
finishes off with, come in, Indigo. God damn
Oh,
it,
yeah,
man.
yeah, 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 that's right. Yeah, okay.
So
That, that,
yeah,
that,
so that was all. It's all part of a story that I guess we can get into in later videos because there's further songs and there's further albums that are already sort of
birth
the
process.
planning and
Yeah,
process,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and he's start has a greater role down the track, I guess.
yeah. All right. Well, so let's keep it a bit secret whether he's back dead or alive. It might be a song about his afterlife. Who knows?
But who knows?
But
Who
we'll wrap
knows?
it up there, Richard.
Okay,
And
Roger. Good on you, mate.
yeah, thanks for today, and have a good one, mate. Cheers.
All right, you too, mate. Thanks, Roger.